Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Chiron conjunct one's natal Uranus. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve Chiron, it could be about physical and emotional wounds, helping, healing, could involve suffering, where we might feel ineptitude in. And when we have transit Chiron, when it conjoins one's natal Uranus, well, this may manifest in physical and emotional wounds, helping, healing, suffering. It could be where we feel inept. It could be some kind of trauma. And it may involve friendships. Sometimes it could be through physical battle and confrontation in some isolated cases. You might be experiencing suffering that's very up and down and erratic and sporadic. It also may be dealing with some suffering and wounds connected with one's freedom and independence. I mean, the fourth house, it could be something, the home, the family, or the third house. It might involve issues like with neighbors. Maybe you're doing, say if it's in the zodiac sign Cancer in the third house as an example. It could be where you're basically nurturing and caring for a neighbor or a cousin or a sibling, and you feel it might be inhibiting your freedom as an example. Now, Uranus is also associated with the unusual and unorthodox. So it might be a time where you might come up with some kind of might be an innovative way to help and heal others. I saw something online one time when someone was talking about some idea with a vaporizer and adding some kind of iodine or something in it. You may want to Google that or something, look it up. I'm not sure if that was exactly what that was, but you understand what I'm saying. It can be something where people are using more ingenuity or doing something that might be a little bit an unusual different way of actually helping other people. And remember that Chiron is the wounded healer. It can reflect the ways that we could be going through suffering, but we could help those in those same areas, but we can't seem to help ourselves often in those same comparable situations. Now, Uranus is also connected with the goals and aspirations, so it might be something where we might be feeling, more hurt at this time in matters with goals and aspirations. It might be a time where, for example, one might be festering over not attaining certain goals and aspirations, especially if a person that has this transit is at an older age. They might be going through some kind of lamenting or brooding over this, or it might be a time where one really feels the repercussions in this, or there could be simply setbacks or roadblocks in matters trying to attain one's aspirations and goals and what one has their sights set on, basically. And again, going back to the fact Uranus is connected with innovation and ingenuity, it can be a time. This could may actually be a good time for somebody that is an inventor at this time, or innovator, because it could be a time where you could actually have that opportunity to help others by doing something that might be innovative, or getting that patent for that idea you have. And it could be a time. So, I want to state that, conjunctions in astrology, keep in mind that they're basically neutral. They're very intensifying. It's a very strong integration of the energy that is involved in the conjunction. And they can be good or bad, and a lot of that could be predicated and dependent on aspects that the transit makes to other points in one's natal chart. But anyway, it's also a time, anatomically speaking, Uranus is associated with the ankles, the calves, shins, nerves, lower legs, circulation, and it can be something at this time where there may be more suffering in matters with that at this time. But at the same time, remember that the fact that conjunctions are neutral, it may be an opportunity to heal yourself in those areas. Especially if transit Chiron is retrograde, because retrograde Chiron can often reflect self-healing. And let's say, I mean, if there's some issues with the nerves, it might be a time where you might decide to get like some ultrasound or muscle stimulation in order to help that. Remember that Uranus is also associated with electricity, so that would be like, you know, kind of an ideal thing, like a, you know, muscle stimulation, because it feels like, you know, it's like basically like electricity going through you. So anyway, now, but it could also be about it's a time to also be more prudent and careful if you're involved with work that involves a lot of extensive wiring. You're dealing with, you know, your electrician, or you're in an area that's notorious for storms and a lot of lightning. Because keep in mind, Uranus is connected with electricity. Chiron can be about physical wounds and suffering. So it's very important to be extra careful at this time. This is similar to having, like, you know, as far as that goes, transit Uranus hitting your natal ascendant or sun, because the ascendant and sun are connected with the physical body. But anyway, now Uranus is also associated um, with computers, electronics, astrology. So it might be a time when you may be helping others with those issues. I mean, if someone's got a computer virus and you're very knowledgeable about being able to combat that or cure that. Basically, that could be something, an ideal time for you to help others with that, or matters with electronics. If there's some kind of electronic game that may not be working, for example, and you have expertise in fixing electronic items, this could be something for you. Astrology could be auspicious period for astrologers in terms of helping others and getting them to be more knowledgeable about their astrological chart, and giving them insight into and how they can help themselves by being more cognizant of their astrological placements. Now, Uranus is also connected with shocking things, and it can be a time where there may be more upsetment due to some kind of shocking behavior. If it's in the fifth house, for example, it might be something with a child or a lover, romantic partner that you may that might really unnerve you at this time. And also keep in mind that Uranus is also the planet associated with rebelliousness. So it might be a time, you know, depending on what house this is in, you may be going through, you know, more upsetment or turmoil for somebody acting in a rebellious manner. You know, the fifth house, it could be, you know, rebellious child, and, you know, might be, you know, somebody, say it's in the third house, it might be a sibling or a cousin or a neighbor or someone that was prominent in your early education that might be acting in that manner. Anyway, another way this could manifest and pan out, this could be about the deepest wound at this time. It might be connected with your freedom, your independence, and even like instability and moving forward at this time. Say, for example, if this falls in Capricorn in the fourth house in your natal chart, well, this might be expressed in freedom issues that might be causing you to feel somewhat depressed or despondent, maybe due to a limited home or family life at this time. Whether it's the amount of people in your family, or maybe there's a restriction in the connection or rapport with those people. Um, could also be a time where it might be about, it can manifest in helping and healing others. Again, as I was stating before, it could be through computers, through some kind of new technology, innovation. Let's say, for example, if this falls in Aquarius in the 12th house in one's natal chart, it could be about bringing like tech labs. I mean, that could be connected with Uranus, robotics, even to inner city schools for underprivileged kids, those that might be less fortunate, which of course could be associated with the 12th house. Now, and the fact being in Aquarius, it could be done with more selflessness and altruism. Now, also too, this transit may be expressed. It could be physical wounds or injuries that can be connected with some kind of group or team involvement. Say if this falls in Sagittarius in the fifth house in your natal chart, it could be through something a sports related team, and something that you found very fun, amusing, and enjoyable, which of course could be the fifth house. And remember that Chiron is also associated with depleted or diminished self-worth or self-esteem. And when you have this transit, it might if you are experiencing that at this time, it could be due to friendships or matters with society. You might feel maybe some feeling of ostracism, especially if there's other indicators in your chart that might reaffirm or reinforce this. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, I mean, say if this falls, I mean, if you have, like, say in your natal chart, if you have something like, the sun making an adverse, or ascendant making an adverse aspect to Uranus, you might feel that society is not always in agreement with you, or, you might be feelings of ostracism or being estranged by, separated by a lot of other people in life. Now, let's say if this falls in Pisces in the 10th house as an example, it could be where one might feel maybe betrayed, or somebody, you might have been betrayed, which is Pisces. Somebody betrayed you that may have affected your reputation and public image, and of course, that's associated with the 10th house. So, anyway, again, I mean, this could go and be positive or negative transit, and often it can be a combination of both, because as I was stating before, conjunctions can be neutral in astrology. It's integrating energy, very intensifying. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.